You've been thinking about launching a podcast, and it's a great way to promote your business. But where do you start? You have so many questions. What equipment do you need? How long should an episode be? How do you get listed on Spotify? About Basingstoke is the answer. We're professional audio producers with decades of experience. We can advise you on your podcasting strategy, record your episodes, or show you how to do it yourself, get you listed on all the major platforms, and help you understand audience building and ways to turn listeners into leads. Find out more at aboutbasingstoke.com/podcasts. Oh, and if you think you have to do video because who listens to audio these days? Well, you're listening to this, aren't you? Get professional podcast advice and production. Visit aboutbasingstoke.com/podcasts.
We wouldn't be here without the amazing support from IncuHive, who have a superb new location at Helm Mills, Basingstoke, offering everything from a virtual office address to dedicated offices, all with brilliant business support. Find out more at incuhive.co.uk.
I'm Ali from Designer Travel, and I am celebrating 43 years in the travel industry this year, so it's very exciting. And there's been lots of changes in those 43 years that I've seen and experienced.
Yeah, how things have changed over those times. I mean, you were kind of in the sort of days when I was going on holiday to, well, really sort of those local bucket and spade holidays that you used to have, which I know are still popular today. But since then, of course, foreign travel has become much more common. I mean, most people, I would say now, have been on regular foreign holidays, and that just wasn't the case 40 odd years ago.
Not at all. I can remember when I worked for a family-run company, and I can remember booking somebody to America, and that was just unheard of. And you'd phone the other offices saying, "I've just booked somebody to America," and now it's like going to Spain. You know, it's just
some people do that as their commute, don't they? And of course, you know, we have a lot more options in terms of flights. You know, the cost of flights has come down a lot. We've got things like Eurostar, we've got ferries, we've got cruises, we've got all kinds of different options. And I think this year is an interesting one because obviously with everything that's going on in the Middle East and disruption that's been caused to some flights, uncertainty perhaps about obviously going to that region is a concern for people, but also the knock-on effect with the price of aviation fuel having caused some problems already for airlines. People who have already booked a holiday may be a little bit concerned. Those who are yet to make that commitment and say, right, we're going on holiday, are perhaps unsure of their options. So let's sort of unpack a little bit of that, shall we? For those people who have already booked and they've got their flights, they sort of know what they're doing and where they're going, but they're perhaps a little concerned that that won't actually happen.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of it, unfortunately, is media hype as well. I book package holidays, which are all ABTA and ATOL bonded, and also clients receive a personal service. So they've always got me 24/7, and I'm always on the ball to see what's going on with their holidays. So also, I've had a few where most of the tour operators, if there are fuel surcharges, they have taken the cut for the fuel surcharges. And a few of them have actually said, if you can pay in full for your flights, then we'll issue your tickets and you're guaranteed not to have a fuel surcharge. That's mainly on like the long haul flights that's happening. But the main sort of mainstream tour operators are saying no fuel surcharges. So that really helps and gives a bit of peace of mind as well.
Yeah, absolutely, because that is a big concern for people. As you say, the media hype doesn't help at all. And if somebody's spent a lot of money, I mean, we should say if somebody's spent a lot of money on booking package holidays and flights as well, as long as they've booked through reputable organisations, they will have some protection, won't they?
Totally, yes. Yeah, definitely. I've only had some clients recently. They were due to go to the Maldives in a couple of days' time on Qatar, and we've been holding on just to see if it's going to happen. The flights are going, but because the Foreign Office advice hasn't been lifted, then their insurance is invalid. So they cancelled, they've received a full refund, and I'm just trying to sort out them rebooking for next year. So, you know, they're not out of pocket at all. So, you know, there's no worries with that, with losing money, because you've booked the package holiday.
Of course, there's the disappointment of not being able to go on the holiday you were looking forward to for this year, but getting straight back in there and planning for next year at least gives you something to focus on. Now, as well as flights, of course, there are plenty of other options, and we are very lucky in the Basingstoke area that, you can get down to Southampton, you can get down to Portsmouth, you can get across to the Eurostar. We have lots of options of ways to get around.
We do. I had some clients, they took their own car and drove to Italy with a few stops in France. I've had a lady that's taken the sleeper train up to Scotland and then joined an escorted tour all around Scotland. And I do book an awful lot of cruises as well. I love cruising, so it's so easy just to get down to Southampton, and majority of the time that cruise is going to go, so you don't have that disappointment as well.
I mean, again, that's a story which has been in the news recently, the hantavirus, and that's obviously concerning maybe people who haven't been on cruises before. I mean, it is a rarity. That was a bit of an unusual situation. Obviously, a virus which doesn't normally circulate in that way. I mean, there are thousands of cruises, and generally speaking, things are pretty safe.
They are. Honestly, the hygiene on a cruise is second to none. I did a cruise even when it was COVID times as well, when you had to have a test before you got on board and everything as well. But I've never been ill on a cruise, and I haven't had any clients that have been ill on a cruise either. The crew know what to do, and they are cleaning constantly. When you sort of go back, if you've had a late night, I've been sort of coming back at 2:00 in the morning, and they're there cleaning all the banisters, all the handles, the handrails and everything. So they are so on the ball.
And cruise options, I mean, there are it used to be a thing where, you're going on a cruise, you must be wealthy, and that's not the case now. You can get a very good deal, and obviously options for people who are wanting to cruise on their own, for couples, for families, everything is catered for now.
It's everybody. I've got a lady that cruises on her own. She's doing about her 6th cruise now, and then I've got another lady that's done 2 round the worlds on her own. Wow. And then she's found people that were on that cruise that then say, we're going to do such and such. So then they meet up as well. I've had a young couple, they were early 20s, do their first cruise, and they did the Norwegian fjords. Absolutely loved it. I've cruised with my children from when they were young. They're adults now. But it's a holiday that gives everybody a holiday as well. There's lots of aspects to it, and a lot of people think it's Butlins at sea. It's not at all. It's great. It's all there for you to do if you want to, or you can have some quiet time and do your own thing and see different places each day. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
Such good value for money as well.
They are sort of cities at sea, aren't they? With cinemas and theatres and obviously restaurants and all kinds of things to do, shops and all the rest of it.
Exactly. I did a cruise with my children a few years ago, and they've got a go-kart track on the roof. Wow. It was just utterly crazy.
That's amazing. And obviously there are various different options. If you want somewhere that's hot, there are cruises that go to hotter places. And if you want somewhere that's a little cooler, there are options there as well. There are long cruises, there are short cruises. There really is a case of there's something for everybody, isn't there?
That's it. I've got the solo lady, her latest cruise that she's booked for a few years' time is going from Southampton to Canada and back. If you don't want to fly, you can still do a long haul by not flying.
Goodness me, yeah. I mean, that's a destination you wouldn't necessarily consider for cruising. You wouldn't think you could do that, but that's amazing.
No, you can.
Wow.
And even with the world cruises, you don't have to do like the 56 days. You can do parts of a world cruise as well. Yes, you would need to fly to catch the ship, but you can do that as well. So there's lots of flexibility with cruising. I'm doing an amazing cruise with work in July, and I'm very, very excited. I'm going to the Galapagos, which is very unknown to me. So
okay.
Yeah.
Amazing for things like wildlife.
All the tortoises, birds, because it was all Charles Darwin, and I remember learning that at school. So to actually see and experience it, it's going to be very exciting.
Amazing. And for people who don't want to do boats, they don't want to do planes, how about the train? Because as I mentioned, we are lucky we've got the option of, it's not quite as easy getting on Eurostar as it used to be when it was at Waterloo, but obviously St Pancras is still doable. I know, it was good. But you can go across to Ashford, or you can go up to St Pancras and get on the Eurostar, and then you're into mainland Europe. And it doesn't, people sometimes think, Eurostar, that just goes to Paris, but actually it goes to more places.
It does. There's a direct service to Amsterdam now as well. So you can go to like the main cities, and then you can get the fast trains on from there. So it's very, very flexible. There's one you can do because the Orient Express doesn't come into the UK now. It's mainly in France. So you can go to Paris and then get the Orient Express. And there's also a beautiful train in Italy as well. So, there's lots of different ways of doing it, or interrailing. I had a friend and she did all around Scandinavia. And instead of paying out for hotel rooms, she just did all the sleeper trains to save money, and saw lots of places in Scandinavia.
Clever.
So, there's lots of options.
Yeah, and of course you've got the Eurostar, which is the passenger train. You've got also the Eurotunnel service, which goes from Dover, and you can take your own car.
Exactly. So there's lots of ways if you don't want to fly. Yeah, very, very flexible.
So you're Basingstoke based. How do you sort of work with people when people get in contact with you and say, look, I'm not really sure where I want to go on holiday, or some people will have an idea of where they want to go. How do you kind of help them to find the ideal holiday for them?
I never just take an email request. I always arrange a phone call so we can have a good discussion and then build a rapport as well, find out what they like, what they don't like. I've got clients all around the country, not just in Basingstoke, but I am very fortunate because a lot of my business is repeats or recommendations as well. So I've got a Facebook page, which I do get business from as well. And then also with the Facebook page, then I've got some clients that tend to go to the places that I've been as well. So that's how it happened with this solo lady. She saw that I was doing something solo and she was like, I want to do the same as what you've done. It's like I've checked it out for them. So it gives them a bit of peace of mind as well.
So do you find that most people have a rough idea of what they want to do and where they want to go? Or do you find that sometimes when you have those initial conversations, that they, it's almost like a light bulb moment and they think, wow, I'd never considered that, but that actually is very much me?
I always like to add in a wild card as well. And that's worked quite a few times, saying, yes, you were looking at this, but have you thought about this? And that works as well. So and also because I work for an independent company, I've got colleagues all around the country. So we've got our own forums. So if, say, there was a place I hadn't been to, I know I can go onto it and say, I've got clients certain age. Would you recommend this? Oh, yes, I've been there. And then that helps me as well. So, it's a really good way of doing it. But I say I want to build the rapport. I'll meet clients if they're local as well. I'll meet them. And that helps as well. A lot of cruises, I've gone to clients' houses and told them about the cruises, and I've sat on their settee and they've booked it there and then. So
brilliant. I mean, that's proper personal service, and and we should say this is not for high-end expensive holidays. This is for everyone.
Not at all. I book anything anywhere. So short breaks, UK holidays to high end. Cruising, rail, as we said, fly drives, anything. I can book anything apart from sending you to the moon. So, yeah.
Well, that'll be the next thing.
Yeah, I don't think I like the idea of that.
Let's talk about something which is very much in focus for this year. Again, because of, maybe people have travel concerns, but also just the cost of living, and people maybe waking up to the idea that you don't always have to go to another country to enjoy an absolutely gorgeous holiday. Staycations. Yes. Let's talk about where you can go and good places to go in the UK, because I'm of the generation where that was the default, that you went, from the south. If you were in the south, you'd go maybe up to Derbyshire to the Peak District, or you'd go a bit further, go up to the Lake District or something like that, or up to Scotland or Northumberland. I mean, there's so many great places, aren't there?
There is. And I do think since COVID, when we all did our COVID walks and everything, everyone's a bit fitter and they like to go out for their walks or hikes or whatever. So it's maybe nice just to hire a little cottage somewhere, near a pub, and then you can go out for your walks as well. I deal with a lovely company. I've got some beautiful properties in Cornwall as well. The Channel Islands, again, you don't need to fly. You can go on the ferry as well. Take your car or hire a car when you're there. The Isle of Man, as I say, the lady that went up to Scotland on the train and then did the touring around. And also, if you did want to do like more of a touring holiday, there are quite a few sort of coach companies with pickups from Basingstoke as well. So that opens up lots of places in the UK.
I think we have preconceived ideas. I mean, goodness knows we know that in Basingstoke, that people in other parts of the country have preconceived ideas of what places are like. But I mean, I lived for a while up in the northeast, and I can tell you one of the best beaches that I've ever been to was Sunderland, a place called Whitburn, which is a gorgeous bit of beach, sandy beach, miles of it, a proper sort of promenade that you can walk along and just amazing. People would never think of going on holiday to Sunderland.
I know, exactly. And there's places on our doorstep. I went to Christchurch the other weekend.
Lovely.
I'd never been to Christchurch. What a lovely place. And it's on my doorstep. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. And I say it's down the road and I'd never been.
It is good to explore those different places. Somewhere like Shaftesbury, which, is only an hour or so away from Basingstoke, and it's beautiful. And for those of us that remember that the Hovis adverts, that's the hill.
Gold Hill, yes. Yeah. Exactly. So, there is so many lovely places. But unfortunately, it's just the weather. If you want the weather, then it's a bit hit and miss.
Wherever you go, I mean, you mentioned Cornwall. I mean, Cornwall is a wonderful place. And you do, you can go down to like East Wittering and go on the beach there, but that's a day out usually.
It is.
But Cornwall, it's far enough that you really feel like you're going on holiday.
Yeah, and also you could go by train as well from Basingstoke. So, yeah.
And that is a really nice journey down.
It is very scenic, very, very scenic. Yeah, definitely. If you book your train far in advance, and you can get a good price.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, I suppose speaking to somebody like you, that helps with all of that, because you'll have the knowledge of, particularly for people who don't necessarily do certain types of holiday on a regular basis, they may not realise there are certain ways that you can get better discounts and you can get,
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, well, look, definitely.
Absolutely fantastic speaking to you. If people want to find out more, how can they find out more?
Yes. So I've got a Facebook page, which is Designer Travel by Ali, ALLY. And I've got my website as well, which is designertravel.co.uk/Ali Toner, TONER. But you'll find me on all the socials as well. I look forward to hearing from everybody.
You've been thinking about launching a podcast, and it's a great way to promote your business. But where do you start? You have so many questions. What equipment do you need? How long should an episode be? How do you get listed on Spotify? About Basingstoke is the answer. We're professional audio producers with decades of experience. We can advise you on your podcasting strategy, record your episodes, or show you how to do it yourself, get you listed on all the major platforms, and help you understand audience building and ways to turn listeners into leads. Find out more at aboutbasingstoke.com/podcasts. Oh, and if you think you have to do video because who listens to audio these days? Well, you're listening to this, aren't you? Get professional podcast advice and production. Visit aboutbasingstoke.com/podcasts.